Well, hey everyone, my name is Brandy Gillum, and I am the conference coordinator for the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. And I have with me today Tim Barton, who's the president of Wall Builders, and he is one of our amazing keynote speakers that you can hear at the 2025 conference. You guys, this is going to be held June 12th through the 14th at the Denver Marriott Tech Center. So, you guys, we get to spend most of Friday with Mr. Barton today during three different sessions. The first one he kicks off with our general session at 9 a.m. called The Birth of Education in America. He follows right away at 11 o'clock with Celebrate America, and at 3 o'clock with Religion and Morality are the Indispensable Support. So all day Friday we can spend with Tim. So Tim, tell us a little bit about the heart of the workshops that you're going to be sharing at the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference.
Yeah, well, I mean, all three have a similar theme in the sense of we're going to see with different stories, different ideas and directions, but that God's been a foundation. And anytime you make God the foundation, it goes better. It's
Yeah.
not hard or complicated. Do it God's way. God's ways work the best is what God tried to tell the Israelites over and over in the Old Testament. They kept forgetting. He reminded them. And this is what we'll talk about even at the general session, the one on education. We'll look back and we will see how over the years, especially early 1900s, progressives get involved and they change the whole pedagogy, this idea of what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And a lot of parents today don't even realize that they've embraced some of these very progressive, non-traditional, at times even Marxist ideas, not realizing where those things came from. And so the challenge will be, let's go back to more biblical positions and certainly what we did in early America that was so successful. And then looking at the breakout sessions, we'll get into some specific details of people telling their stories, where we acknowledge these weren't perfect people, but it's clearly people that God used in remarkable ways to advance freedom, to advance equality, things that fundamentally shaped and changed the nation. And the last breakout session, we'll get into the idea that as many thoughts as we can throw out of where we can make the nation better, where we can do things better for our family, or whatever details there might be, if we don't build on the right foundation, if we don't restore that foundation in a nation, then ultimately what we are building will not be successful. And the founding fathers understood religion and morality have to be the foundation, which means for us as believers, as parents, as homeschooling thought leaders, we want to make sure that we are encouraging, we have to build on the principles of Christianity and the Bible, religion and morality. That's the foundation that will help us be strong going forward.
Mm. Man, those sound powerful. That's awesome. We're so excited to hear all of those sessions that you'll be sharing with our attendees. So, Tim, kind of fun fact, this is the 40th conference that will be held in the state of Colorado this year. And your dad spoke at our conference a couple times many years ago. So tell us a little bit about how homeschooling has positively impacted your growing up years and your current family.
So I grew up as a homeschooling student, although we jokingly said we didn't homeschool, we van schooled because our family traveled all over the nation. And so we were in a van doing schoolwork. By the time I was 11, I'd been to all 50 states.
Wow.
And by and large, it was my dad traveling, trying to share some of the history of the Christian heritage of the nation with other families. And what I recognized is because of homeschooling, I got to grow up being far more connected to my family, to my parents, my siblings. I got so many opportunities that other people didn't. And I also recognized that I was able to advance far quicker and at times be done far sooner because every individual is different. And homeschooling gives a unique opportunity for parents to work with their children, not in this socialistic cookie cutter idea that every kid has to be the same. No, God made all of us different. And I grew up with a very unique opportunity where I saw how you can privatize this education from parents and kids firsthand, doing things unique for each child. And I would highly encourage and recommend every parent out there, and of course, those watching right now, you probably already are, you already know, homeschooling is awesome. There's a lot of benefits and advantage. There's a lot of blessings that come with it. And certainly I grew up in that. Now, my wife and I, we have two little girls. Our oldest is 6. We are just starting this journey right now. So there's a lot of things that I learned along the way. And of course, all of us as parents, we know that there were things we thought we knew when we first started parenting. And then we realized over time, like, Okay, I might not know as much as I thought I knew. Like in theory, this all worked, and then I had kids, and now I question a lot of what I thought I knew.
Yeah.
But we are in the middle of this beginning of a homeschool journey, and we are very excited about the opportunity to be able to help raise our children in the fear and admonition of the Lord, speaking into them, equipping them for all that God has called them to do. So, yes, I grew up homeschooling my kids now, and we will see where God leads in the future.
That's awesome, Tim. Well, thanks for sharing that. So, the last question I have for you today is how do you see homeschoolers paving the way to maintain a free constitutional republic?
Well, one of the things that we have seen a resurgence of, especially in a lot of the homeschool community, is going back to some classical ideas. And so, whether people are doing the full classical system or not, some of the classical ideas we're learning to ask questions, learning to be thinkers. One of the major changes that came under progressives is we began trying to have students memorize and repeat what they were told. So, we weren't teaching them how to
Mm,
think, we were teaching them what to think and what to
yeah.
repeat. And if we don't have people that know how to think, if we don't have people that actually go back and have a restoration of the biblical principles and the constitutional parameters, then what we will see is the continued abuse, the continued eroding of our God-given rights. The founding fathers, in the second paragraph of the Declaration, when they said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights." Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed, and I could go on, but I won't. But they acknowledged, like, the whole premise of the American idea was built on the notion that there's a God, that God gives us our rights, and government exists to protect those rights. There is virtually no public school in the nation that is promoting those ideals right now. And
Mhm.
if we don't restore or at least maintain to some extent those ideals, then this American experiment will fall by the wayside, as every other nation in the history of the world has done after about 250 years. We
Right.
have a unique opportunity to help restore and rebirth some of those ideas and those visions to once again help America get back on the track of what we were founded to be, a nation that was different, a nation that was set it apart, a nation that knew who God was, that knew what God had given people, and was a nation built on protecting those God-given rights.
Mhm. Amen. Amen. I keep thinking I'm raising children that are way too conservative in their thinking, but really what they are is constitutional in their thinking right now. And I love that. I love that opportunity to spend that time with my boys doing that. So, well, Tim, we are so excited that you are headed to the 2025 Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. Again, you guys, it is June 12th through the 14th at the Denver Marriott Tech Center. Head on over to our website, which is RockyMountainHomeschoolConference.com, and click register now. We cannot wait to see you there.